Hello and welcome to another episode of Focus on Tomorrow. I am your host, Honor Lawless. Focus on Tomorrow is a nonprofit organization located in Chicago, Illinois. You can find us at our website at focusontomorrow.org or email us at info at focus-on-tomorrow.org. Today we're here with our guest, Johnny Fan, a photographer and social media expert. So Johnny, how did you discover photography was your passion?
Wow, that's a big question in itself. I think discovering photography was definitely something that started off in 2014. I was on a trip with my parents to Hong Kong and China. It was my first time visiting, and all I had on me was my iPhone 4. And I really wanted to capture moments because I knew that I was not going to be back for quite some time. First of all, because the flight is expensive, and we don't go too often. So I had my iPhone, and I remember I just wanted to capture everything, like seeing the skyscrapers, the night skies, the waters, the mountaintops, and just clicking away on my phone. Yeah, it was really crazy. I just really wanted to capture the moment and remember those times. And I think that's when I really started to just take pictures. It was just like for fun, and it was just for to hold memories. But that's when I just started, and I just found like a love for it. Like I really liked what I was capturing, and it held memories. And then fast forward to last year, 2015. In between that time from 2014 and 2015, I was just using like my iPhone, taking pictures of like city stuff, and I picked up a camera. It was like I think $300. It wasn't too expensive. It was some money that I saved up from working some part-time jobs, and with that, I picked up the camera and I just started using it, and since then is history.
Describe some challenges that comes with photography.
Challenges. Wow. I think a big challenge in itself is that when you're taking photos, it's a brief moment in time that you're freezing, and capturing the quote unquote right moment is always going to be the challenge. You're freezing a moment in time, and to get that right shot or the perfect shot is always the challenge because you want it to be great.
Did you before this? Did you have like anyone who inspired you to take pictures, like a mentor or something?
Um, Inspired me to take pictures. I mean, my brother is actually a photographer himself. He does wedding photography. I don't really dabble into that too much, but uh, him being my brother and my big brother, I definitely always looked up to him. Um, I didn't really have a mentor because I was mostly self-taught, but he definitely is a big help to me in just whether we're looking over work or just finding inspiration or just chatting.
So recently you've done some traveling.
Mm.
You want us to tell us about these trips and what you did?
Yeah, absolutely. So with traveling, recently I've been on tour with a music artist, um, and with that, the traveling was pretty much road tripping. We were for festivals that we were playing. So this started in January when I met this music artist. Um, we started working together. From then, he was playing different festivals throughout the nation, and he was like, "Hey, I want you to come join the team, help me document the journey and stuff like that." And from January on, I think from January until now, I think we've done about 10 or 11 festivals, major music festivals, and festivals such as Lollapalooza, Bonnaroo, Sasquatch, uh, Houston Free Press, Afropunk, um, and these were all different places that I've never been to. So Sasquatch was in Seattle. Um, we had a festival called Shaky Beats in Atlanta. Houston Free Press was in Houston. Um, I think all that combined, it was like that was like the travel experience in itself was very very exhausting. First of all, super super exhausting. There's not a lot of sleep going on, but it also like taught me a lot about photography and documenting in the times where we're always constantly moving. There was no real like stop or break or anything because we were going from like city to city to city. Like from Chicago to Seattle was about like a 40-hour road trip, and then from Seattle we went to Idaho for some charity work, and then the next morning we drove 20 hours to Houston to perform there, and then we went back home to Chicago for one day, and then we drove back out to Tennessee for a Bonnaroo festival. So that was within like a 2 week span, and so during that time, it's like you kind of learn and just like progress as a person who's documenting the whole adventure. You know, like the whole 2 week span, you want to capture moments and have memories that you're putting together for the team or the music artist or for yourself. I mean, again, like I said, it was like my first time out there in like Seattle and Houston and places like that. So I definitely wanted to see the city and do what I could to just explore and capture moments and just, yeah.
All right. As a photographer, do you feel like you need to like have a job at a large corporation to get known?
Personally, I don't believe so. For myself, I'm not at a huge corporation. I'm a freelance photographer, and I'm just me. You know, there's no corporation, there's no company backing me or anything like that. It's. I don't feel like there, like in this day and age in 2016, you can see that a lot of people can work hard, whether it's by themselves or with the team, to get what they want to get, like to reach their goals and dreams and stuff like that. I think it's really interesting that we can see that happening. You know, we can see whether it's artists or just people that just strive for their goals or be entrepreneurs in this day and age where it's blossoming and it's coming to fruition, and it's something that's very beautiful, amazing. And I absolutely think that you can do great without any huge backing or corporation or anything like that.
Going back to the last thing you talked about traveling and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
do you think you learned anything from that?
Wow, yeah, absolutely. I think the most craziest thing to learn is that you'll never sleep. No, yeah, it's a tough journey, you know, going on the road, you know, for hours and hours on end. Yet again, you really don't get sleep. It's not some exaggeration. This is real life. Since we have to go from place to place and interview to interview, like we go to sleep traveling from one city and wake up in another city. But you gotta keep in mind that we're also road tripping, so we're in like a 15-passenger van, and in that van we got like, you know, almost 15 people. So you know it's also tight, and it's like you're sleeping in the seat, so it's not like it's super, you know, like a comfy Tempur-Pedic mattress. So you're traveling hours on end, and you don't get a lot of sleep. But so one thing you learn, I think, friendship, you know, family. You know, you're with these people for 2 weeks, you know, hours on the road, working together. I think my biggest takeaway is just working together. You know, teamwork makes the dream work. That's my personal like biggest takeaway. Like I learned that you really need a team to work together. There's a lot of things that happen, not just that what we see that just happens. Like, for example, there's a lot of behind the scenes that doesn't really get shown, but we always see like everything else, like all the good stuff. But there's a lot of work that goes behind things that look amazing and stuff. And I hope that answers the question.
What would you say is the best way for a photographer like yourself to get known?
Best way for a photographer to get known?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not even known. So, like, there's plenty of photographers, and there's plenty of whoever it may be in any industry. You know, every industry is saturated. There's plenty of doctors. There's plenty of news reporters. I think it's. I I think there's a lot of social media involved, especially in 2016, where we have platforms like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that, where you can promote and share your work. Um, I think that goes without saying. Like, social media is a powerful, powerful tool. It's something that I'd say is 100% necessary as someone who's getting your name out there. I myself am still trying to do the same thing. You know, I'm still learning the pathway to growing and stuff. So, yeah, definitely social media is a essential tool, great tool to use and learn, and just work forth from there.
For photographers, is it hard to get a job? Like, what kind of jobs are out there for you guys?
Oh, it's definitely hard to get a job. It's competitive. Um, that goes with, you know, without saying. Everything is competitive. If you want to not have a 9 to 5 job, you're gonna be fighting for that job. You know. But aside from that, like, what kind of jobs there are, I mean, think of what a photographer does. It's like they help capture the moment. So where would places, or where would people be where they need moments captured? So you can be at an event, you can be at a wedding, you can be at a birthday party. I mean, these are just things that, you know, people want to document because people want memories to keep. People want memories to look over, you know, 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and it's like these moments are, again, frozen moments in time. You know, like, this is where that 1 second where maybe the baby is cutting the cake and you capture that moment. It's like you want to remember that, so that's what that photo is there for. Yeah.
So, going to, like, more depth into photography, like still pictures. What
Yeah.
would you describe a still picture, like a perfect still picture, to be?
A perfect still picture?
Yes.
Wow. I don't think there's such thing as a perfect still picture. Not mostly in the sense because I think every picture that you take should be better than the last, and that you should always be growing and learning. And like, what describes a perfect picture? You know, like for example, going back to the baby cutting the cake, for the parent that would be a perfect picture, but for someone who wasn't related to that baby, it might not be the perfect picture because it has no real value or meaning to that person. You know, I think, again, photos they have value. You know, like, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It might be worth 10,000 words to someone else, and it's something that you gotta, like. Depending on the context of how you see the photo and what it means to you personally, I believe, is what makes the perfect photo. Other than that, I mean, I believe that's what I truly believe is the perfect photo. Things that matter to you, things that mean something to you. Yeah.
Okay, so I hear that you're still in school.
Absolutely.
Do you have any advice for, like, kids that want to be an aspiring photographer?
Oh, wow. Advice. I'm still an aspiring photographer, guys. Advice. Just do it. I know it's so simple and so crazy and so cliche, but literally just going out to do it makes it happen. Like, when I first picked up the camera last year, I literally just spent days, every day that I could, out, whether it was in the city or just, like, at home, just taking pictures. And I think that's quote unquote practice, and practice makes perfect. It's just something that you got to keep doing to get better at. And I'm still learning myself. And for anyone out there that wants to learn, you just do it. You pick up the camera, or if you have an iPhone, that's how I started. I just kept going forward with that, and I just kept practicing and learning composition or framing, and stuff like that. I think the more you do something, the better you get at it. Whether it's playing basketball or writing or reading or studying for a test, you only do better when you keep going at it.
So, what do you think the future holds for you?
These are deep questions. What does the future hold? I think I just want to keep keep going and documenting. What I like most about what I'm doing right now is just like making memories. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, all we have left as humans is like, this kind of sound kind of deep, but we have memories. That's the only thing we have left. You know, these are things that we whether we experienced it or went through it or whatever it may be. It's like these things are things that we keep and we remember because this is what affects us. And for me, as a person who gets to take those memories and put it in, whether it's a digital form like on your phone you can see it, or in a physical form if you print out the photo, these are things that you really that hold value to you, to a family member, to a brother, you know, to a sister, whoever. These things hold value, and for me, I just want to keep making memories, and you know, making memories that make a story and make my story, and you know, write my book and write my chapters and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, you know, I have my own story to tell and my own book to read, and because you know, I just think that we should all be, you know, creating our book and writing our writing our book. You know, we yeah.
So you say everyone has a story to tell.
Of course,
What is-
100%.
What's your story?
What's my story? Wow. My story is just, I'm very adamant about being a believer. And what I mean by that is that I think that I learned this the hard way, and that's probably another story to save outside of this, but being a believer in yourself first, you know, self-belief is, I believe in it so strongly, and I say that because self-belief has gotten me through a lot of things, and it's the idea that you can, when all else is like, you know, weighing on your shoulders and going against you, that you have the willpower and strength to keep going forward, whether you're going through like bad times or down times or rock bottom. You know, the only thing not the only thing, but a powerful thing that'll help you get through is self-belief. The idea that you can keep moving forward against all odds I think is a beautiful thing, and I think to adding on to that is like my story to tell is that self-belief is a very powerful thing. I want to be able to tell that to people who may have trouble believing in themselves, because you know what, I had that problem, and I still do have that problem. I mean, you know, there's no way to say like I'm 100%. You know, there's things that get to you. You know, as humans, things get to you, and you want to think that, you know, you're all perfect and you're so strong, nobody can break you down, but it happens, you know, it happens, and you know, life will throw things at you, curveballs, things that you would never imagine, things you never expected, and it could tear you down, it could break you down. Those things you can't predict, you can't expect, but the power to just believe in yourself to keep going forward is an amazing thing, and that's the story that I want to share, just to keep believing in yourself.
So you're saying if we stop believing in ourselves, then we will fail at what we believe at what we're trying to do?
That's very extreme. I don't believe that you'll fail, but I just believe that it's a very powerful tool to keep moving forward. You know, to be able to keep progressing and going forward and move, doing that, I believe just self-belief is a very powerful tool. It's not a make or break situation where you know, you will fail, but I think it's a great benefit in addition to your character to move forward.
So even if you do fail, you always have those people in your corners to help you bring yourself back up.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that there's this thing that I believe in, that you should always punch above your weight, and it's like what I mean is that you should always be striving to go to the next level and fighting for things that are harder than what you can do, because it challenges you. You know, because if you were always, let's say, punching your own weight, which is something that you could do, you will never really grow and learn. If you punch above your weight, it's going to be something that's harder for you, something that'll challenge you. And through the challenges and stuff, and through the trials and things like that, it really pushes you to be better, to learn. It forces you to think. It forces you to really, like, uh, maybe switch up your style. Maybe go exercise some more, practice some more. You can't beat the better without bettering yourself. And I think punching above your weight is a good example that you should always strive to do something that's challenging to you, because at the end of the day, from that challenge you learn. If there's no challenge, I mean,
So if you're saying if we're not challenging ourselves, like if we're punching below our weight, so to speak,
mhm.
that we will degress. Is that a word? Yeah.
Not digress, but I think it's a great thing to always challenge yourself, whether it's, if you're in school, like I am, and you are, like we're in school because we go through each year learning different things, and these are things that are harder than the previous year for a reason. That you get Algebra 1, you get Algebra 2, you get English 1, English 2, whatever it may be. These things they get progressively harder because it's supposed to challenge you and teach you and help you learn more.
Mm. So in school, we're speaking school-wise.
Yes.
Sometimes the teachers themselves, they
Mhm.
don't know what to teach you because they don't know your strengths.
Mm.
So you have to prove. So we have to prove to them what we know so that they can actually help us improve, right?
Of course, you want to have people who are able to cater to how you learn. Everybody learns differently, and like maybe one way that they're teaching may help this one student more, and maybe it might not help you more. And that's something that you gotta personalize with that teacher or with that mentor or with that person to help you get better. There's no one right way for anything. There's multiple ways of learning. There's multiple ways of doing things, and like if it doesn't work for you one way, you can take that and be like, hey, can you try to teach me a different way, or anything that will maybe help it to your understanding.
When you, as a photographer, were you taught many different ways to take a photo?
No, I wasn't taught anyway. I'm self-taught, so in that sense that I just did everything and failed and learned from that. That you make a lot of mistakes, like you just go out and do it and make a bunch of mistakes, and then you learn from those mistakes. I'm not saying that's the best route, but that was what I did, and that was my route. It was the hard way, quote unquote, the hard way. I'm sure there's a bunch of easier ways, like reading a photo book or going to art school and stuff like that. But for me, it just wasn't my way. Not because I didn't want to or anything like that, but it just happened to be that way. And I just did trial and error, and I personally think that was a great way for me to learn and just continue forward in learning how to use the camera, how to take a photo, whether this was like good lighting or whether this was a good frame. I think that was something that I really just had to keep trying and keep learning from. And to this day, there's no way I can make a perfect photo, or no way I can always take great photos. There's always, like I said, you want to continue growing by keep taking photos and stuff like that, because you want your next photo to be better than your last, and things to keep in order to progress. Again, it's like it's a challenge. There's no limit to how much you can learn. Experience and learning is a beautiful thing that you should keep going forward with.
If you had to take one more photo, what would it be?
These are deep. One more photo? What would it be? Wow. I think it'd be a family photo. Just setting up the camera and having my family just be in the shot. Because at the end of the day, that's what holds value and meaning to me. My family, and that if I was to take one more photo, that would be it, because that would be the thing that holds the most value to me, the most meaning to me, and that's something that I want to keep to myself, and hold that memory for forever. That if that was it, that would be it.
All right, thank you. So we have to wrap up in a bit.
All right.
Just so you know, this is our information again. Focus on Tomorrow, located in Chicago, Illinois. You can find us at our website, focus-on-tomorrow.org, or at Focus on Tomorrow, focus-on-tomorrow.org. That's our email. And do you have anything else to say, Johnny?
Last word is thank you for having me. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any more questions, you guys can feel free to contact the show or contact me. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Again, I'm your host, Honore Lawless. Thank you for watching our show. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.